All right, fellas. I'm here with Mike Kinner, who is, of course, a family man with a business, not a businessman with a family. Also been in Front Row Dads as a member since March of 2023. And I really got to know Mike last year at what I would consider to be like one of the coolest daily sweat activities we've ever had at a live event, where months prior to that, uh, I started digging into Aerosport, which is a game that Mike invented and turned out to be a massive hit amongst our guys. Basically, I'll let Mike unpack like how he explains it, what it is, but I looked at it a little bit like the best lawn game meets ultimate frisbee meets basketball meets like the best of all these sports and accessible for people at lots of different levels of athleticism, and it was awesome. It was perfect for our group. And also, so it's not only to see Mike in that environment and the men playing and enjoying the game that he invented, but also now getting to know Mike as a man outside of being Mike the inventor. I love learning about Mike's heart, how he sees his family. And so this show today, we're going to talk about both of those things. We're going to talk about what it's like to be Mike the dad, the family man, what he's learning about himself and about his family, and what's working and what's not. And then also we're going to talk about being a businessman and bringing this game to life, and the not only the victories that Mike's experiencing, but the real challenges that all of us as entrepreneurs and business owners, or at least entrepreneurial minded people, would face along the way. Because everybody, if they're on a sailboat long enough, is going to hit a storm. It's a big wave. So I'm excited about this conversation. Mike, welcome to the show, man. Excited to chat.
Thank you, John. Honored to be here.
Dude, let's start with family. And actually, why don't we back it up even more for a moment? And can you give me a little context to who Mike was, the kid, to what your life was like as a child, and then we'll get into your children.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, my childhood was it was filled with a lot of play and good memories. We had I grew up in a small town in Woodland Park, and Woodland Park's like on the base of Pikes Peak in Colorado, and it's just a cool mountain town. We had just a really fun childhood where it was a play-focused childhood. And as you know, like I don't know, there's this new book that I'm just reading called The Anxious Generation, and it talks about how the 80s and 90s kids, we lived in a play-based childhood, and now sadly, like 2010 on, it's a screen-based childhood. And growing up in the 80s and 90s, we literally lived and breathed creative play, where we were outside just inventing games, playing basketball. Like once I got into basketball, like that was my jam. Like I just fell in love with the flow of the sport, the rhythm of the game, and that was my dream to be in the NBA someday. But to kind of segue deeper into my childhood, my dad was an entrepreneur. My parents, they took a bold step when my dad was a teacher to start up their own business. And they drove up through Woodland Park. At the time, it was like a empty town. And they said, what kind of business could go here? And they decided to create a donut shop. And so my dad invented the donut mill, which is still alive today. It's a landmark in Woodland Park. He sold it back in 2001. But my childhood kind of lived at the donut mill. So I grew up, that was my first
That's cool.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. I ride my bike there at 4 a.m., open up the shop, sell donuts, and they were the best food. But I ate so many donuts when I was young that I literally couldn't touch them or smell them for like my teenage
Oh
years.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it was a really fun childhood. But also we had a lot of unique challenges with our family and unfortunately some loss, which I won't go into right now. But it was a beautiful childhood, but also challenging at the same time.
Mm. And I love this connection to play, and I love that we're weaving that in. When it comes to your life right now, Mike the dad, Mike as the family man, tell me a little bit about playing with your kids. Tell me how play shows up in your life, how you keep this active. Yeah,
Yeah.
take me into your current life.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to. So as you know, being a dad and obviously juggling so my family was a situation. We have a 12-week-old, a 4-year-old, and a 7-year-old. So we have a girl, boy, girl. And so my daughter, like we just have so much fun together. We, obviously we get home from school, we have her burn off some energy and just do some creative play in our backyard.
Mm.
And then I'm not consistent with it, but I try to set a commitment timer where where we play intentionally, we're screen-free play together. And obviously with my son as well, like not to go too deep in my son's story right now, but like play with my son is so much different than play with my daughter. And so I have to get really creative on what I can do that would be fun and unique for him. Because of his challenges and his medical condition. But long story short, like I wanted, like my goal is to play every day with my kids, and obviously play can be as simple as chasing them in the backyard, playing hide and seek, on up to how do we make doing dishes more fun. How like I started
Mm,
to play some jams that we play anytime I hit this song, they know it's time to go clean the kitchen. So it's like, how do
mm.
you make the painful, you have to do moments as a father, how do you make it a little bit more fun?
What do you see right now as like the best part of being dad, and what's really the most challenging piece of parenthood?
Hmm. Yeah. Whew. The best part I would say is, just to see like my daughter's joy. Like she's just such a, like all three of my kids are so beautiful and so perfect in their own way. And so just seeing them grow and seeing them um get better is just so beautiful, and but on that side, like I guess I'll just kind of jump into it now. I have to warn the listeners, if you hear me start getting super emotional, it's because I'm trying to unpack something that's really hard to talk about. And so my son, um whew, I didn't think I thought I could get through it without getting emotional so quick, but he has a very challenging condition, and his condition is so hard, but there's something so much greater in between the condition, and so like his diagnosis is microcephaly, lissencephaly, which basically means he has a small and flat brain. So in comparison, he's 4 years old, and his head and his brain is smaller than our 8 or 12 week old. So his brain did not develop and his skull formed very quickly, and it wasn't able to grow any further than when it formed when he was very, very young. And so he has microcephaly, lissencephaly, epilepsy, blind, deaf, cerebral palsy, like pretty much you name it, he has it. But in other words, he's the ultimate underdog. Like he is just a legend, and he is overcoming the odds in every way. And he's truly like my greatest teacher. And he's taught me so much. And being his dad has helped me really like just accept people for who they are, nothing more, nothing less.
Mm,
And my son, like, obviously it took a while for me to wrap my mind around his condition. And then to really accept him for what he is. And it was really one of those things, like it's hard to say that as your dad, because obviously you want to just be the dad who accepts your kids perfectly. But it took me, months, if not a year, to really fully love my son just as he is, no more, no less. And then once I finally got to that point of being able to truly say, I love you, son. I'm so proud of you. You know,
I feel you.
thank you, thank you.
Thanks for sharing that, man.
Yeah, for sure. It took a while to get to that point, but then when I when I got to that point, then I realized he'll never be able to say he loves me back.
Mm. And how does that feel?
Oh man. At the time, it was brutal, man. It was so hard.
Mm,
But the cool thing, like what I'm learning now is like the power of silence and the power of being still, and how we can say we love each other without the words.
mm,
It's like really, like I'm just learning to just go so much deeper with him, with like in a soul way. And it's like when you meet him,
mm,
like he just has a presence and a countenance about him that like he could be having the hardest season of his life, and he's so joyful and he's so resilient. So his spirit has taught me how to tap into things that I didn't know I had. So
mm,
to kind of circle back on the where we were at with what does play look like as a dad, like with my son, like it's like, how do I play with him and do rough and tumble play with a kid who doesn't know how to play back? So it's like
mm,
we have him put me in headlocks, and we kind of wrestle in a very careful way so his feeding tube doesn't come out. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those heartbreaking stories, but like when you look deeper in it, it's like the most beautiful story. And I'm like, now I'm at a point where I'm just so grateful for that he's my son, and I'm so grateful to be his dad. And also I just know there's something greater, that's coming out of this.
mm. What are some of your more fond memories with him? I mean, I love that you just painted this picture of like, this wrestle, uh, and trying not to knock his feeding tube out. Like
Mhm.
there's so much in that. There is so much in that story in and of itself. And I'm curious what other moments have been those moments that stand out for you, that maybe there are those moments where you've learned something about yourself, about your son, about your family. um, Kind of open to you to interpret that as you wish. But are there stories like that that come to mind, other moments?
Yeah, there's so many moments. Like we're kind of the hard part is like right now we're in a season where he's so fragile. Like he had like the best like 4 months of his life, like where he was just no seizures, like in great spirit, and we didn't have to worry about him getting sick all winter. But normally in the winter we're in and out of ICU. But he like right now he's so fragile, so it's like I can't really see a lot of like in the moment I can't think of some of those stories, but like the two that come to mind, one is like we have this really cool swing set up in our shade structure in our backyard, and he just loves to lay in that thing, and we just push him, and you
Mm,
push him as high as until the mom starts yelling at me it's too high, but he just loves the moments of movement, and like his body, like
yeah.
one thing that I've learned right now is like his body doesn't know how to move, right? And like he can't really, besides moving his hands to his mouth, like he doesn't really have a lot of function and awareness about what he's doing. And so like what I'm learning right now is like the need for play and the need for movement is so good. And as you know, like I think Jim Quick says, like as your body moves, your brain grooves. And because Sam's
Mm,
brain is like unlike anyone else's brain, like the more we can intentionally move him. And my wife, God bless her, she's so intentional with his therapy and stretching him. And I got this back stretcher that I try to stretch him every single night, but it's like teaching him to move and just seeing how he lights up when he moves and see how he comes alive when you stretch his arms and you just do simple kind of human touch. Like it just shows, and it's such a healing experience. Like when we're in a low point, and I think I learned this at Front Row Dads, like the power of human touch to regulate yourself. And just touching my son Sam, like just rubbing his back, like it's like literally like the fuel, like you need to be Superman for the day. You know what I mean?
I love that. I love hearing that, Mike, from you, and I love that this is emotional for you. How does his older sister relate to him? How does she engage? And how do you, as a father, help build that sibling relationship?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely beautiful and challenging in itself, because obviously sometimes it's just, there's always like it limits what we can do as a family. Like this past weekend, we went to the Savannah Banana game, drove down to Albuquerque to kind of tap into how they're creating such a fun experience. And just going down there was such an adventure, but also so hard, like, because like we wanted, the second we got to the hotel room, she wanted to go to the pool. And we got there late. We were super tired. And there was a lot of complications with Sam. He just started getting cold. So we couldn't do what she really wanted to do. So some of that is so hard as a dad to like know that it's a burden, that you can't live the childhood.
Yeah, sometimes I wrestle with this too of like how much do I actually want things to be, you know, normal, whatever that word means, right? Like in my mind, the story I tell myself that it should be this way. And then how much can I lean into what's abnormal, what's different, what seems to be the surprise or the difficulty at times? How, again, however we want to label these, define these, or, um, because I have this conversation with dads a lot where it's like what made us who we are today is oftentimes our adversity.
Mhm.
It's like, and yet there was a quote at the retreat, and I need to think about what this was, but it had something to do about it was, we try to raise kids to survive our childhood traumas, you know?
Right.
So like if I was, I had a very difficult junior high experience, and like I could see a lot of my dad life has been how to not let my son go through the same junior high experience that I went through.
Hmm.
But yet it was junior high that helped me become who I am today.
Hmm.
Like, do I want my kids to have all these challenges and all these difficulties and all this struggle? It's like kind of,
Yep.
but I don't want to like put it upon them in an unhealthy way. And I just wrestle with that a lot. How
Yeah.
much adversity is a healthy amount of adversity? And luckily, I haven't been shy on what I think are natural doses of adversity for my children.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and I think
100%.
that our adversity differs from family to family, and the challenges you face are totally different than other families. And there's probably a lot of listeners out there who are like, Mike, I can really relate to what's going on for you and maybe what's going on in your family.
Yeah,
Yeah. Are
absolutely. I
you
mean,
and are you and your wife on the same page with like how to navigate these situations, or is that has that, and I'd imagine it would create some tension also in the relationship of
oh
like
yeah.
these are high stakes things at times, and like that can amplify spirits.
Oh yeah, it definitely is there's a reason why they say like 80% of families with special needs kids get divorced, because it just complicates everything. Thankfully we have such a grounded relationship, and we know how to really honor and give each other space, so like I it's complicated things in so many ways, but it's made our relationship so much stronger. And same with, like, we were talking about how adversity defines us to some degree. And like with my daughter, like she is such a better person by having a son like Sam. And she's like, when we meet another family who has special needs, she's like, we're another special needs family. Like, she's so proud that she's part of that team, and they say like the special needs community is like the most beautiful community that you never want to be a part of, because it's so heartbreaking,
Mhm.
but at the same time, like there's like, just like, that saying, I think it's in Think of Rich, he says, every failure, every adversity carries within it a seed of greater good. And I'm
Mhm.
learning that like this adversity, is challenging as it is, and how it gets me to my knees, weekly, if not daily, to ask for God to strengthen me, to get me through it. But like, it's literally defined my wife and I's relationship. And I know that we're 100% rock solid with each other, even though like at moments where like she wants to probably, you'd ask her perspective of how things are going right now, she'd probably give you a different answer. But we are definitely in sync with how we can, serve each other better, but also like how we can be intentional with my daughter and
You,
everyone
you
else.
mentioned God. Tell me more about how you find strength.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say, Christ is 100% like the only reason I'm here today, because there's so many times like I was empty, broken at my weakest point, and I literally, if it wasn't for him breathing life into me and giving me hope for a better tomorrow, like I couldn't get up. There were so many moments in the past, since Sam's been born, where I was like, white flag, I'm done, But he's given me hope, and like I back in the day, I memorized the Romans chapter 8. And at the time, I was in a really dark space, and I memorized that whole chapter, and the words in that chapter, just like still to this day, like they give me so much hope,
Mhm.
So my faith is definitely like a big part of it. And my wife, thankfully, she has such relentless faith, and even though like this is the hardest thing that we ever imagined, like not in our life, but do we imagine we'd have this challenge of having the family dynamics we have, because she wanted a family of five and a bunch of kids, and now all of a sudden, like, we can barely handle, three kids, and we're just tapped out to the rim. But long story short, I guess what I'm trying to say with my faith, it's definitely like what I do now is, read the Bible in the morning and just pray like it depends on God, and work like it depends on me, you know.
Mm. Pray like it depends on God and work like it depends on you. That's beautiful. I like that. Mike, this is kind of a cool transition moment to talk about, I think, the aero sport and what this means to you and what this could mean to your family. Because when you think about hope, when you've invented something and you're trying to take that to market, and you're working to get traction with that invention, I'd imagine that hope plays some critical role in that process. And you are quite a ways along here in this project. I mean, you have this beautiful, complete game. If somebody went to your YouTube channel, I don't know if it's on your website, but on YouTube, you could see a video of the front row dads playing this game in downtown Austin, which is awesome. I know you've got some things cooking right now that are pretty darn exciting. But talk to me a little bit about like, dude, emotionally, what is it like to be this like founder, inventor, business owner, and a father, and just juggling it all? Which any one of those, just father, just married, just in business, are alone full-time gigs, and yet doing them all together and trying to be excellent in all those areas, and maybe take care of yourself, hopefully, a little mental health, a little physical health, right? And then there's all the miscellaneous things that pop up that you didn't expect. and all the people that love you and count on you and want need something from time to time or all the time. But dude, talk to me a little bit about where you are emotionally, and then we'll get into the game itself. But I want to first tap your heart, and then we'll get into the specifics of the game and maybe how it invented or how it was invented and what your hopes are. But
Yeah,
how are you
absolutely.
doing, man? How's your heart?
My heart is just grateful, like grateful. Like obviously, if you layer it, like there's like so much behind that. Obviously, overwhelmed, stressed, like exhausted, But like the biggest emotion is grateful to see like what's coming to come in as a result of just relentless faith. Because I'm working so hard and thinking from the result of the vision that I have of what we can do and all the good that can come out of the power of play. Like my what keeps me alive is the idea that play can help change people's life. And one of my favorite quotes is, "Don't ask what the world needs, but ask what makes you come alive." Because what the world needs is more people to come alive. And when I
Definitely.
said, anytime I'm feeling low and I feel like there's no way I can get up this mountaintop and do this impossible dream of launching the next great American sport, I think of all the times when I set up Aerosport and like at the Front Row Dads event. I didn't know how these amazing, successful, badass dads would respond to it. And to see the snap of a finger, they were in the flow state and aligned and connected. So I'd say though, to go back to the question on emotions, I'm definitely, tons of layer of emotions, but I think the biggest one is just hope, because I know that I'm working on a project that's greater than me, and I know the good that's going to be on the other side of the mountain.
So let's paint a picture for people of what this game is, because I imagine there's still some people going, I can't picture it, never played it, don't know what we're talking about. Watching a video definitely puts things into perspective, but how do you paint the picture or articulate what Aerosport is for those who haven't played?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely you have to experience it to truly know what Aerosport is. But to summarize Aerosport, like in a sentence, it's like a mix of your favorite sports or backyard games packed into packed into your favorite game. I said that really bad. Let me try that again. Aerosport's a mix of your favorite sports packed into a game that can transform. Sorry, we need to edit this part out.
No problem.
Cool, cool. So if you summarize Aerosport in one sentence, it's a lifetime sport. It can be adapted to anyone. But let me hold on. Fucking A, dude. Sorry. All right.
I did, by the way, let me tell you while you think about this. I was at a Front Row Dads retreat and somebody goes, how would you tell somebody about Front Row Dads? And I could not put the words together. I
Right,
couldn't, I couldn't explain how to explain Front Row Dads,
right,
you
right.
know.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's part of the process, and usually I could do it. But what was the question was emotion, but now it's like, how would you describe it to
How
somebody
would
else?
you describe, yeah, Aerosport?
Yeah. So Aerosport is a mix of your favorite sports packed into one game. And the cool thing about Aerosport, it's so adaptive. We call it a lifetime sport because no matter what season of life you're in, whether you're trying
Mhm.
to play it with your kids, whether you're trying to play with your most athletic group of friends, or if you're trying to have multi-generations have fun and connect and align, it's designed to be versatile depending on the situation. But to picture it, imagine like a aluminum target tower that's kind of in the shape of a cross or a T, and at the top of the T, there's these rocket mounts or target mounts that hold targets. And the targets are in the shape of a rocket. So it has a really fun kind of look. And then essentially they're reactive targets. So you get points by knocking off the targets. And so in the way to play the game, it's first off, there's so many ways to play it. The my favorite way to play it is kind of like Ultimate meets basketball. So imagine we're on a court or a field, and there's a team of 2-on-2, 5-on-5, 7-on-7, and then we're working kind of like the flow of basketball to try to knock off the other team's targets. So you kind of defend like you're playing basketball. But then the cool part is when you're on offense, you can run with the disc. So you can take as many steps as you want, but you have to pass it 2 times before your team can shoot it. So it kind of encourages teamwork and strategy. And so to kind of summarize, I like to call it the underdog sport because a lot of times, like this morning, I set it up at this military event, and this lady, she was one of the top commanders, and she said, "I am awful at sports. I'm no good at it, but I'll do my best." And I told her, "You're going to be the best person here because anyone who says that does really well." Because the cool thing is, it's more about strategy and mental focus than it is about raw
Mhm.
athleticism. Height doesn't matter, strength doesn't matter, speed doesn't matter. It's more about teamwork and your ability to focus under pressure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Doesn't take up a tremendous amount of space. So it's not like you need a whole soccer field. You can set it up anywhere, very quick. All the materials were really high quality, and we broke a sweat, man. And you could, because of the team play, like you could take a breath if you needed to, and you could move more slowly and work the strategy. And then you might have people that, if they want to sprint, if they want to jump, if they want to get as active as they want, they can. And it's very, very cool. But it doesn't require, as you said, for somebody to be like a top 1% athlete to be able to do this and do it well. Because sometimes, like when we play volleyball here in Austin, if you in that sport, if you have somebody that's really, really good and you have somebody that maybe like is really new to volleyball, it can make the game really hard. Because if a
Mhm.
person keeps shanking it away, it kills the game in a sense, right? But in this, it's like you can keep playing, and if somebody didn't have the same skill level, it wouldn't drop the game. It,
Mhm.
you know, it would
100%.
it might only even add to the dynamic and the fun of
Yeah.
it.
You nailed it.
Very cool stuff, man. Talk to me a little bit about who's gravitating to this game. How are you using it? Obviously, it was perfect for front row dads, and we'll continue to do that. But where are you finding traction so far?
Yeah, great question. So we are focused right now. We're making big bets on experiences and events. Because leading up to COVID, our focus was really selling to like camp schools and YMCA's and going more B2B route. And then COVID happened, and it kind of just, and then obviously just dealing with the emotions and the challenges of juggling my son. We had to kind of put the brake on Aerosport a little bit because all of our momentum, all of our marketing spend was evaporate essentially with the youth organization side of things. So what we're focused on now is in-person events and experiences. So this summer we're working on some really cool stuff. So on July 21st in Colorado Springs, we're going to be a part of the Rocky Mountain State Games, and we're basically having like a single elimination Sweet 16 tournament, and it's going to be super fun. If you're in the Colorado area, there's a handful of teams, slots still available. So feel free to reach out or go to Colorado Springs Sports Corp at the Rocky Mountain State Games. The other big event that we're focused on is a military event. So we're really focused on honoring and serving the military. So we're working on something that is so dang exciting. So long story short, we have a Sweet 16 military championship, and we're going to pit the military branches against each other. So we have Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, the Space Force. And I haven't talked to the Coast Guard yet. We'll see if they'll fly out to Colorado or not. But we have those five branches,
Oh,
as well as the Wounded Warrior community. So the goal
wow.
is to do this event where it benefits the Wounded Warrior Project. And so right now we're shopping venues. We're trying to lock in the details about our, just ensure that we can execute at a really well level, and then we'll lock in the day. The goal is for this military event to be late summer, early fall in Colorado Springs, and we're shopping venues. It's either going to be at a high school football field, a military location, or I just went to the Wiedner field in Colorado Springs, the most epic soccer field in Colorado. It's just a stunning location. So the dream is to have it at Wiedner Field and benefit and honor all these incredible men and women who serve our country. And kind of so that's kind of where we're focused on right now because we're betting on human to human experiences. We believe people need to play, people are lonely, and seeing people play in person just brings out so much good.
If I gotta ask this right away because somebody's gonna be like, okay, I want to try this. Where can they get an Aerosport website, Amazon?
Yeah, on our website. Yeah, so we're focused on direct to consumer right now. So playaerosport.com, and it's
Okay,
play AIRO sport.com.
cool. Yeah, that's so fun. Um, and And what's your big vision with this, Mike? Like, if you fast forward 10 or 20 or 30 years, however far you want to take it out, like what's possible in your mind and your heart right now with this game?
Yeah. Yeah. So our big goal. So I'm working with going deep with Benjamin Hardy's work with his up and coming book, Rapid Transformation. And so the goal is to work on impossible goals and use time as a tool to really achieve things that seemed like it would take 20 years to do in rapid
Mm,
time. So the cool thing is, so 3 years from now, the goal is to get 10 million people to play Aerosport. And obviously we could do that through a few different kind of creative strategic partnerships, whether it's boys and girls clubs, the military, after school communities. But so we want a lot of people to be playing Aerosport, but the bigger vision is to really design experiences that people would pay to watch and pay to see. And I'm sorry, pay to play. And so my vision is like right now, I don't know if I'm sure you're familiar with the Savannah Bananas and like Jesse.
Oh yeah, Jesse Cole, man. I had him on my podcast.
Yes, he's
He's a
an,
great dude.
oh,
Yeah,
yes,
founder of the Savannah Bananas, or at least he made them successful. He came in and like blew them up if
right,
he didn't start it. Yeah.
right.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, that's what.
Yellow tux, right?
The yellow tux man, exactly, exactly. And the
Yeah.
dream is to really borrow some of the ways they design a fan experience. And so we'll have like a sporting event where people will essentially pay to watch Aerosport, and then we'll essentially have like an entertainment director that will really have like a halftime show where we have Special Olympics or some adaptive communities playing Aerosport to really make it an experience that people would happily drop $25 to bring the family to see people competing at a high level. And so kind of the longer vision is Aerosport. Like right now, there's disc golf players who are signing $1 million contracts with their sponsors, and so the goal is to start an Aerosport professional league someday, and really just leverage the power of play for the greatest good of all. Because I believe, as you know, play is so healing, and there's so much good that come
Yeah.
out. It's a gateway, and if we can leverage the power of play, we can tap into creativity, healing, de-stressing, and unpack a lot of wounds through the power of play.
Are you funding this yourself? Are you taking investors? How are you approaching the business side of things?
Yeah, currently we are bootstrapped entrepreneurs. We're underdog inventors, but we are definitely looking for investors. We're really looking for like the right core team of selfless leaders who want to be like I always look at it like imagine if James Naismith was reincarnated and they were trying to make the new basketball, and what would the team look like to really build a selfless sport that put ego aside and really created something that could inspire millions of people through the power of play. But long story short, we are self-funded, and we are motivated to make some big things happen.
How are you balancing the building of a business and being a dad and a husband right now? This is a crazy time of life, I would imagine. So, what boundaries, guidelines, principles, rules, or whatever do you live by or try to live by? I know it's not a perfect system, but how are you able to balance all this, if we can use that word?
Yeah, yeah, good question. I would say balancing is definitely I don't have much balance, because I'm also juggling a day job and obviously being like my family's first, so I got to honor and serve my wife and my kids in a powerful way. So a lot of my Aerosport time is evening and weekends, so after the kids go to bed, I'll just crank out a few hours of work, and then trying to be really intentional with where am I focusing my time and how can I honor both my amazing employer, but also my the dream of Aerosport. So it's
Mm,
really challenging right now because there's just so much on my plate, and there's to build a sport in itself is an impossible dream, let alone if you're a true underdog like we are.
yeah. When do you play? And who do you play with? When do you get to set it up and get out there?
Oh man, it's funny because every time I set it up, I'm like, hopefully there's enough. They need an extra person. I can jump in there, But
Yeah,
usually I'm kind of like guiding the activations until we train some dedicated activators.
yeah.
Like this morning we were at this military event, and they had multiple games going on, so I wanted to make sure that they had it going. But this weekend I'm actually going to an event with Ben Greenfield, and we're going to be playing Aerosport there. So hopefully I
Oh
can.
yeah, that's right, dude. Carrie too, right? That's
Yep,
yeah, Carrie.
exactly.
That's awesome. I
That's
love that. I love that for you. That's really, really fun. Yeah. Um, Mike, let me ask you this question. What would you say what does your wife think about all this? Like, how might this be affecting your relationship? Is there moments when she's coming to you going, are you sure this is all worth it? Is she always in your corner? Hey, baby, as many evenings and weekends as you want. And I realize that I'm asking a very intimate question here, so answer only what you want. But I think that this is like something that is a real struggle for a lot of people. That's
Mhm.
a hard balancing act, right? Because that our spouses oftentimes will need to make a lot of sacrifices along the way. So I'm curious
Mhm.
how you're navigating that.
Yeah, it's not gonna lie, it's really challenging. My wife is the most incredible, supportive. She's a dream wife. Like I'm married way out of my league. Like I'm just humbled every day that she's my wife. So but the challenge is obviously it'd be hard enough, let alone like the needs of Sam. So it really complicates things. And like we have countless moments where we just need to tap each other out. So we both have um, you know we have a healthy communication channel, but my wife is 100% believes in the vision, but at the same time, like we're both aware that hey, there's a lot on the line with this dream.
Yeah.
We're taking a big risk, but at the same time, like we keep on getting more clarity that we're on the right path. So it's just walking by faith, to be honest, but it's but the key thing is like giving her time to really have time for herself. So we're trying to really kind of, now that the baby's born and we're getting into a rhythm of sleeping again. Now we're really trying to figure out how we can both have our self time, so she can
Dude,
have a few weekends.
it's so amazing. It's like, hey, by the way, here you got a full-time gig, you've got this company you're launching, getting off the ground. You've got two children already, two kids that need your attention, right? So you've got a spouse that needs you, you've got two children that you've got your business that needs you, businesses that need you. And then somebody's like, we're gonna give you a little baby and not let you sleep for the next however many days, weeks, months. Hey, let's just remove sleep from the equation. That should be easy.
Right.
No problem. It's just such a crazy thing that of what men and women and humans are able to do. Um,
Yeah.
and at times it can really break you. It can really
Mm.
break you and break you down.
Yeah.
And because I know how much shorter my fuse is if I'm just tired,
Mm.
you
Oh yeah.
know? If I'm tired and stressed and thirsty and hungry, it's like my son can ask me the sweetest question and I've got a lot of energy behind it,
Mm-hmm.
that
$100%.
he's not necessarily expecting, but because it's just a lot.
It is.
Um, Mike, what else would you want the guys to know? What might you want to share about any of this aerosport, life, family that I just haven't had a chance to ask you about yet,
Yeah, I just
or if there is?
Yeah, I want to just thank you for giving me the opportunity to connect. It's always great to connect with you. Two things. One, I would just want to encourage you if you're listening to this and you're struggling, because I know the struggle, and the struggle as a dad is so hard and it's so real, So I just want to encourage you that you're not alone, that you can get through it and you can overcome. There's hope on the other side of the challenge, and I want to encourage you to reach out, because loneliness is a real big killer right now in families. So I want to encourage you if you are not in a good social situation, I highly encourage you, reach out to Front Row Dads and join this community if you're not already a part. Like this community has changed me. I'm a different man today than I was a year ago. And far from where I wish I was, but I've come a long way. And it's a lot of it's being around people who are farther along with you, and then you start to catch momentum based on some of the ideas that they share in this group. But also, I would encourage you to develop the habit of taking what I believe is the most important vitamin in the world, and it's vitamin AP, active play, because active play can break through a lot of mental inertia. So if you don't have enough play in your life, I want to encourage you to find your play. Whether it's aerosport, whether it's pickleball, whether it's just finding a jogging buddy, but put play on your schedule this summer, weekly, if you can have a weekly or bi-weekly meetup with just a couple people, and also reach out to somebody who you haven't seen for a while who might be lonely too. Like you never know what somebody's going through, you know what I mean? And the power of play can heal people, and we're designed to play, and that's in our DNA, right? And so I just want to encourage you to get out there and break up your comfort zone with play.
So true. Yeah. Mike, I really appreciate you, man. I'm so grateful that we have you in the community. I'm so thrilled about the way that Aerosport landed in the Front Row Dad community last year. So awesome. I imagine that will be part of many daily sweats that we have at our live events. In fact, I can't see a reason why it wouldn't be. There's so many times, by the way, when like we can't find the basketball court or the volleyball court or a pickleball court or whatever else we're excited about. And to have something like what you've created that can go with you anywhere, all you need is like a little space to run around in. It's awesome. And I think people should just like keep it in their car. And I think that's one of the best things, just have it with you and set it up, maybe ping a couple other families, get out there and show kids how to do things off the screens.
Mhm.
Because look, I love screens. They've been wonderful for me. We're talking on one now, but I also know that for my mental health, nothing beats being outside, running around, silly, laughing, like you said. So,
Yeah.
yeah, appreciate you, Mike. Lots of love to you and to your family. they're lucky to have you, buddy, and so are we. So thanks for this conversation today.
I'm grateful for you, John. I hope you have a great day. Thanks again.
All right. Oh, one more time, website to where they can check it out.
Yeah, playaerosport.com, and also the military event. You follow us on social, aerosport.fun on most social channels, and also we are looking for sponsors for this military championship. So if you want to see this military championship come to life, the goal is to do an annual Aerosport military championship and raise eventually millions of dollars for the Wounded Warrior Project. So if you believe in the power of play and you want to honor those vets who are just incredibly courageous, reach out for some sponsorship opportunities as well.
Yeah. Front Row Dads is a sponsor. Get in there, guys. All right. Mike, thank you so much, buddy. Much love. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.